They're telling you that quality time is their love language. So the complaint is the big thing. But also you can observe their behaviors, observe your own behavior. How do you express love to other people?
Right.
If you're always patting people on the back, you know, physical touch is probably, you are always hugging people, physical touch is probably your language. So how do you express love to other people? And then the third is, what do you request most often of the other person? If you're saying, you know, honey, you think we could get a weekend together away this summer? You know, you're asking for quality time.
Well, you know, I think today, Dr. Chapman, because everybody is so busy, and I know I'm very guilty of this, it's easier for me to give somebody something than it is to give them my time.
Yes, yes.
However, I have a daughter. I have two daughters, but my youngest daughter in particular, her love language is quality time. She wants quality time.
Yeah.
And so I can give her gifts until, you know, the cows come home, and although she appreciates them and she does enjoy gifts, that's not going to satisfy her need, you know, between us if I don't sacrifice and give her time. And so I think we have to realize that sometimes love does require sacrifice. And so in giving somebody else what they need, it may not be the most comfortable thing for you. Some men are uncomfortable, or even women uncomfortable, giving compliments.
I think that's an excellent point, because often the love language of your spouse is something that doesn't come natural for you.
Exactly.
Because it's not something you've been speaking through the years. It's not something that was spoken to you as a child, perhaps. And so we have to start fundamentally and basically to understand love is something you're doing for someone else.
Right.
It may not come natural for you. For example, let's say words of affirmation is your spouse's language. And I've had many men say to me, well, you know, I know that these words are important to her, but I don't feel, you know. And so I say, okay, let's start fundamentally. Get you a little notebook and start writing down little love sayings that you hear other people say on television or reading the newspaper, or you just hear someone else say. Write them down, or things that maybe you could say to your spouse. In front of the mirror, read the list out loud so you hear yourself saying these things, you know, and then you pick out one. You walk in the room where she is when she's looking in the other direction, and you just say one of them and run. And what you've done, you've broken the barrier. And the next time it'll be easier, and the next time it'll be easier. We can learn to speak any of these love languages, but we have to start where we are. Admit that it's not natural for me, but if it's my spouse's language, I'm going to learn to speak their language.
I think what you're saying there is a very good point to make sure that our audience is getting, is that we can learn this.
Yes.
We can learn this. You know, just because it doesn't come natural to you doesn't mean that you can't learn this. I know I was, my husband is a real strong, easygoing, laid-back, phlegmatic personality that doesn't really seem to need a lot of anything. He's just pretty satisfied, and you can, you know, we've even talked about this. I say, well, what are your love languages? I don't know. You know, I said, well, do you like gifts? Well, yeah, if it's something I need. Well, you know, do you like words of affirmation? Well, yeah, I guess everybody likes compliments. You know, he's just so satisfied.
Yes.
You know, he has a difficult time knowing really what he wants. But I think just because somebody doesn't respond like, oh, thank you, I needed that, that doesn't mean they don't need it.
Yes.
And God really put on my heart that I needed to compliment my husband more. And at first I thought, well, Dave don't need that. You know, because he doesn't always respond like, oh, thank you, that really builds me up. But I noticed as I began to just obey God and do that then all of a sudden Dave started doing some things that I had wanted him to do without me even nagging him to do them. So I think it's good for our viewers to realize, too, that just because you don't get a really emotional response from somebody about what you're doing, that doesn't really mean that they don't need it and don't appreciate it, because maybe they just don't know how to respond.
That's right. It's getting through to them, but they're not verbally telling you, I really like that, you know. But you will see it in their behavior.
Right.
That's the key.
That's exactly
when a person genuinely feels loved by the spouse, you begin to see them reciprocating, finding ways that they can express love to you. And often, the things you've complained about through the years will be the things you'll begin to see them doing, because when they have positive feelings towards you, they want to do something for you. They remember what you've complained about, And so now they start doing those things.
And I think also when you're operating in that principle of love, which is sacrificing to find out what that other person needs, then you're sowing a seed of obedience, and now God can bring a harvest by putting things in that other person's heart that God knows is a desire of your heart, but you don't even always have to verbalize it to them. We need to take a short break. Well, stay with us, and when we return, we're going to teach you why love is not only a feeling, it's a choice. And we're going to discuss in detail the love languages, words of affirmation in particular.
I give physical affection. I am a hugger and cuddler, and I guess I like to receive the same thing.
We're learning this week that love isn't just a feeling, but a choice that you make every day. And learning to show that love in ways that people get can change everything in your life. Our resource offer today is one of those classic teachings by Joyce that has helped so many people discover how to walk in love, even when other people aren't so lovely. Walking in Love is a 6-part audio teaching, and when you request it today, we'll also send you Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, as a free bonus gift. It will help you better understand how to effectively express your love to the special people in your life, and that just makes the world a better place. Our offer is available for a short time, so be sure to call us today. Toll-free 1-800-727-9673, or visit us online at joycemeyer.org. Now, let's get back to Joyce and her guests.
Buying things, material things always fade away, get old, break, but physical affection is something you can give 24/7.
Well, everybody has a primary love language. So we went to the streets and asked the question, how do you show love, and how do you want someone to show love to you?
Actions speak louder than words to me.
I like communication. I like verbal, I love you, or I care about you.
Well, I just show it in my actions. I try to, give hugs and let people know I appreciate what they do for me.
Give them hugs, show them that, be around them, talk to them, tell them what they want to hear, be there to listen.
I think it's in the little things. It's making sure to say good morning.
Anytime that somebody does something for somebody that they're not expecting, that's a true sign of emotion and care.
Just by telling everybody day to day how I feel about them.
You can tell somebody as much as you want, but actually doing and showing the things, especially in things that I hate doing, really shows me that he loves me.
Physical affection is something that you don't have to buy or pay for, and it's simple. It's just the everyday things that we do, the courtesy to each other and the respect.
I want them to tell me how much they love me all the time.
Well, Dr. Chapman, we want to center a little bit on one of the 5 love languages for the remainder of the day today, and that is the one, words of affirmation. But first, let me just ask you a question. We're talking a lot about how these 5 love languages operate between marriage partners, but what about all of our other relationships? Do they work the same there?
They really do. They apply in all relationships. I wrote the book originally for couples, but I had a lot of single adults say to me, I know you wrote that for couples.